This is the third phase of my course, which is the From Data to Manuscript, where we are using a quantitative data analysis to convert the data into a manuscript. So in this section, we are talking about the manuscript development, interpretation, and finalization of the whole document. And this phase is divided into two major components. So I merged a few weeks, and this week I'm going to be talk about the research statement and finalizing results. And the last will be where we were talking about the overall manuscript, including the introduction, discussions, and conclusions, and then of course the methods and results section as well. So this is the way I have my plan. So this week, the focus will be on a few points which I want to be highlight when you be working on the manuscript. That the first thing is clarifying your research objectives and analysis plan. So that's the first thing we several times discuss about what we are going to be do the research in this area, and then how we are going to be plan the whole analysis strategy and those kind of things. So we need to be finalize our results. So that could be including the tables, charts, and maps. And I will show you in the next slides how I'm going to be prepared those kind of things. So we need to ensure the clarity and completeness in the presentation of the results. So that's one of the aspects you need to be see the sequence, how those things will be flow and how they relate with each other, and the results will be presentable and readable. So that's the things which we when we're preparing those things, we need to be consult the right software and tools to prepare the results. And then we when we're writing those once we done the analysis component like our tables and charts, and now we can go back to the method sections, so where we can explain our final data sources and what the samples we are using, and then all the methods we have used in this case. For example, frequencies, bivariant analysis, cross tabulation, and chi-square test we use in this case, and then binary logistic regression, which is another way we can call it the multivariant analysis. So we can explain all those methods, how we done it, and then about the weighted and unweighted analysis. We can describe all those in a different structures. That's we will definitely talk about in more details about those kind of things, how you want to strategize those sections. And then we can come back to the result sections, and there's the result sections when we are talking about the tables and charts. So each and every piece like those items, we can have at least three things, and which I have already mentioned in my like the demo, which I'm going to be after this slide. And those things we need to be write down, and then we want to make sure all those results are aligned. We have a descriptive text with the presented visual data for clarity. So we want to make sure our research statement and the results are in an and prepared nicely, and they have in a flow and logical way which we can describe the whole research, because that's basically the foundation of your whole manuscript writing. So in the next slide, I'm going to show you two examples from the published papers. One is a table of the right side. So this is the order ratio where I have three different dependent variables, and then they have different predictors showing their values. So this is one of the way the depending on the type of results you have, or the variables, how you want to design them together. And sometimes when you have, if the data is more geographically available or distributed, so you can use maps to describe those kind of analysis. So which we, in our case, we did the both kind of analysis, which I'm going to be explain next. There are different ways to start the manuscript writing once you've done the analysis component. So my approach is usually first, after like when you're having a research statement or kind of objectives or research questions. In this case, as you know, we are working on improved wash services, which is water, sanitation, and hygienes. And there are two questions based on two indicators based on SDGs, which is 6.1.1 and 6.2.1a. So one is access to the improved or managed drinking water services, and the second one is safely managed sanitation services. So when we look these two indicators, so there are two questions in the multiple indicator cluster survey. WS1, which is a source of drinking water, and that can be categorized based on the different categories into improved and unimproved sources. The same thing is a similar kind of things is sanitation facilities, which is a question WS11. Usually you will find in the mix, and they're talking about improved sanitation facilities versus unimproved. So, as you know, we combine these two questions together as a dependent variable, where we have improved wash services across Balochistan, Pakistan. So once we have this plan, and then as you know, we have completed the analysis using SPSS and that multiple indicator cluster survey data. So what we did, we export this data, select all of it, and then export into the Excel file. So now when we have all the tables in Excel, so we're trying to be see all those results and into a formal table. So that's the focus is how to prepare those tables. So depending on the analysis you're running, we have three different kind of analysis: frequencies, cross tabulation, which is also called bivariant analysis, and then we have the multivariant, which is binary logistic regression in our case. So they have a three different kind of tables. Sometimes we can use two only. So I'm using bivariant and multivariant analysis. So in this case, if you see the tables are separate when we get it from SPSS, and then we have to be put those variables together and remove those unnecessary fields, and because we are stacking on each other, so it means one heading will be sufficient and then all those categories will be there. So this is the area of residence, quantile, education. So this is those are the categories in that, and we have the count, like how number of households, and then the proportion of the household after total. So this is the way you can see, you can prepare this table, and that table we can take into the Word document. So the similar way we can work on regression results. And one of the things in the regression, we have a district table, which is we need to be adjusted. So usually the district is not by name in the regression estimates. So we have to be work a little bit on that, and then we need to convert that table into a proper table with the names. So this is a way in the regression. So we normally need a significance, we need odd ratio, and then we also need a confidence interval, like lower and upper limit of the 95% confidence level of that odd ratio. So this is the way normally we work in Excel or some spreadsheets to prepare the results, and then take that one, and then we will move to the Word document to show the results in the final stage. So, as you know, there are different parts of the paper. So, after having a proper definition or question research statement and dependent variables, so we can move to the first is the methods. So, under the results, we will move to the results. So here you can see the different tables which we worked on last slides, last couple of videos, and showing you how to prepare those. So this is mostly the information about the dependent variables, especially because there are two different aspects. So I just want to show the proportion and then how we construct the dependent variable. So we can also discuss this one in the beginning of our results and declare overall the like about 58% of the households they have both improved and improved water and sanitation facilities. And when we have the bivariate analysis, and this is where we have a dependent variable, we declare it the improved wash facilities. So we have, in this case, we have improved and unimproved both. So first we have unimproved count, and then we have improved count, and then we calculate the percentage out of the total. And there are different ways to develop this table. We will discuss in examples, published paper, how people are doing it. The first stage is we just need to bring the table in a readable format, and then we continue to improve that template. So what we need is we need a p-value for the chi-square test. We want to show the cross tab between these two categories, which is improved and unimproved wash facilities versus the place of residence, which is urban rural. So the association is significant. It means this variable is important factor to be considered for the next stage for the regression. The same thing is wealth index quintile. You see, is also associated. Education of the head of the household is also, and then we see the his gender of the household is basically is not, so we have option not to carry with that, and household ownership. So this is the way we finalize the table. Then we have a regression, the bivariant for the only district level. I split the tables into two other variables and only the district level variables, because we have around over 30 districts, so we need a separate table for that. And then, as I mentioned, we have prevalence map. So we can use this percentage of improved wash services, and this map is to show overall prevalence. So the classification from the lowest values to the maximum value is basically categorized using the standard deviation, one standard deviation. So the middle category you can see the mean value. So it's about 60. If you remember, we have like 58% household. So overall, so this is the category which showing us, and there are 12 districts fall this category in the range, and then above those are normally more than better than average of the provincial average, in other words. So these are the 9 districts, and then we have 11 districts which is below that, um, the average categories in that. So this is the prevalence, in other words. So that's also part of the results. So then move to the regression model. So we need to be talk a little bit about our regression summary model. So we have 50%, approximately 53% of the variance in the households with improved wash services are basically explained with our model. So there are some other variables, but we have like more than 50% of the variances explained there. So the variable we selected are important, and they explain the model very well. And this is the format we need. Sometimes people don't use these values, and they only want to be significance and adjusted or odd ratio with the lower and upper limit. So the last 4 columns are important, and we can continue with this table, or we can remove these first 2 or 3 these coefficient values, standard error, and degree freedoms, those kind of things to do with the table. And then you can see this is the same similar way. And then the district level information I try to be highlight. So the first district we have a reference as Haran as a reference, which is considered the one, and then now highlight those values which is significant, and the bold are significant, and then after that you can see the having better odds. Having the improved wash services or facilities as compared to the Haran district, which is like a middle value, really close to the provincial value. So these are the ways normally we prepare the results, and I have another map, which now this time it's we use adjusted odd ratios, and this at the district level, and where the you can see the Haran is in between that category, and there are 11 districts in that category, which is basically very close to the reference category. So, and then above and below values, you can see some districts are like 6 districts are better than Haran, and then we have 15 districts which had a uh, less of. This is the way you can see those results. We will discuss these results in the next lecture. So my point is there are different variety of results which we can include and we can consider for our start writing the manuscript. So once we have this these tables and maps or charts, if we have planned anything to make. So if we are satisfied and these are the results, now we can start writing. And meanwhile, if you have any idea to make a better table or better way to represent, but the values are not going to be changed. So whatever you're going to be talk about in the methods and the description of these tables, interpretation of these tables and results, and further discussions. So it's not going to be changed. So this is the main point when I normally the way I learn from my supervisors and mentors how to start is basically the peace of mind is when you finish your analysis and you share in the group and then discuss if everything is fine, seems okay, and then log those results and then start writing the other section of the paper. So what other sections are? So we can start the paper basically. I can show you the few areas which we have. So now we can start writing methods because we know what we how we get the results. So we know those methods. So we can describe all the things very well, and then we can also start adding some little bit text about each and every table. So normally we have a three things to talk about one table. So, for example, we have bivariate analysis. So, we will talk about the first table number two. What is the table number two is giving you? What kind of information is providing? Then we briefly read the table, how we can read this, like those columns or rows, and what informations are presented here. And third thing is talking about a little bit about the pattern. We are not going to discuss here, but just giving a general pattern and outcome about this table. So these are the three things we normally discuss about a one piece of information or one table or map we have in our results. So and then we will talk about in the next session how we will be constructing and writing the other sections, that's including discussion and references and those kind of things. So one more thing which I want to be mentioned when definitely when you work on your objectives, the research. So you need to be work on some literature. You need to be like I have downloaded these papers, so you can see mostly and then I also have the PDF attached with it. So my EndNote library is ready, and I have at this moment is 15 papers relevant to for this study. I think like it would be good, and then keep adding more papers about on specific things which when I'm writing it. So it's going to be over 20 or close to 30 citations papers which I can use as a citation during my write up. So I need some one or two key papers which I can rely on that or which can discuss. So in this case, I have one of the paper which is I will discuss in the next section how it's important and how this is going to be connecting with my research idea.